Guys, just got a package from White's Mobile Locksmithing, all the way out in Lebanon, Oregon. Beautiful, beautiful color card there. Nice scenery. Kind of makes me wish we had some of that around here today. He sent an American rekeyable. We got the keys conveniently packaged right there on the side of it. We're not going to use those, I hope. And oddly, it is a quick set keyway. You could find anything on these rekeyables. This just happens to be a quick set keyway. Doesn't mean it's a quick set, particularly coming from a professional locksmith. I got a feeling there's some nastiness inside of here. I'm just going to clamp it right up on those keys. I don't think that'll hurt anything. I think that'll hold it just fine. All right, a lot of questions lately about how to use right pick. Well, when you look at a keyway, let me zoom in on this thing just a little bit. When you got a nice fat keyway like you find on Quickset, I think your rule of thumb should be you want to use the fattest pick that you can fit in the keyway without causing any kind of drag or anything, without getting caught up, and also with the deepest possible hook that you can fit in there. In a quick set like this, we can use a 25 thousandths and we can use a very deep hook, because there's just plenty of room to operate around in there. So I'm going to use a 25 thousandths thickness, because that happens to be the thickest pick I have on the bench here. And I'm going to use a DeForest diamond, because it's just like a deep hook and really lets me reach up in there. So there's plenty of room. Use the fattest, tallest pick you can. If it's a narrower keyway, you just have to use a thinner pin, maybe 18 thousandths or even a 15 thousandths. If there's warding, there's hardly any warding here, but if there were a lot of warding in there, you also might have to use a thinner pick to kind of navigate around that stuff. If the pins are resting down, say on top of that warding, you obviously couldn't use a very deep hook. There just wouldn't be enough room. You have to use a lighter hook, like a standard hook. But in this case, fat and deep hook is the way we're going to go. I'm going to try top of the keyway, and again, I'm using the 50 thousandths, and two things I noticed right off the bat. First of all, the 50 thousandths is kind of narrow, so maybe I'm going to I want to control that keyway as best I can in case I need to release some tension on it. And see if I can find the right size here. It's always the last one. There we go. That ought to work. All right, I'm going to try to fit this one in here. And that way, if I need to release some tension, I can do it without dropping all my pins. When I was applying the tension, the second thing I noticed is, notice how much flop there is inside of here? That tells me there's probably no standard pins. They're probably all security pins of some kind. So let's just fit that in there, light tension, and see what we got. Okay, right away I'm caught up on pin number 1, trying to squeeze the pick under it. And I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little bit of counter rotation. And now I got a false set. So pin 1 was the first one to be picked, or at least he had to be picked. I'm not saying he was the right one to be picked. Now I'm moving to the rear, checking for somebody else to give me some feedback. I'm on pin 4. A little bit of counter rotation. If I can get him. Come on. There we go. And back to the false set. All right, I'm on pin 3, more counter rotation. This thing's got some spools in it. Okay, now I got a very deep false set. I'm back on pin 1, counter rotation. Now we're back, got our false set back. Very deep false set. That is pin 2, counter rotation. Okay, I think we got him. Let me double check. Okay, I'm on pin 3, counter rotation, so he obviously got picked out of sequence, but that's okay. I'm on pin 5, very slight counter rotation there. Okay, I'm putting a lot of pressure and not getting him. So I'm going to have to release some tension on the core to set pin 5, and you might hear some other pins drop. Okay, I heard one drop up front here somewhere, I suppose. No, spring core. That thing was picked. Okay. Anyway, there you go. I think we're full of spools here. There might be 1 or 2 serrated chambers, but I don't think any more than that. I hate to even say this because, you know, I got like a 10% chance of being right. All right, well, anyway, let's go ahead and get into this thing. It is open. I'm going to have to take the key off just so we can see what it looks like. Try not to cut the lock too much. Sometimes you take the key. Oh, this was a Brinks. This wasn't even an American. All right, here we go. Lee White Challenge Lock. Okay, it was a Brinks, not an American, but it looked exactly like an American. All right. Ah, God. Why do we always got to do this with the weird? Luckily, I had nothing loaned out to neighbors today, so I have the whole collection here, I hope. Let's see here. You know, this is getting really irritating. I never seem to have the right side. I think I need a workbench about 18 feet long to fit all the there we go. It is a 1/8. I've never had that before. Okay, so we got a quarter moon. No way to bypass this thing because of the actuator on the end of there. We don't need that. We do need this. Get all this stuff out of here. Get to keep the key handy just in case. And this opens up just like a Schlage, for those of you guys who have never seen that. All we do is push this little detent down and then unscrew it. When you unscrew it, before you take it apart, make note of where your moon is, otherwise you might be taking it apart a couple of times to get it right when you put it back together. But we shouldn't have any trouble here. Okay, dump the pin out, and then watch that little baby spring. There he is. Okay. All right, I've turned this all the way to the top. That probably wasn't the ideal thing to do. So when that happens, if you ever get your lock stuck like this, all you do, you take a pick and put it upside down, push the pins up, back into the chamber, and then rotate the lock slightly. That's a very common question that I get, and it happens all the time. Don't worry about it. All right, get yourself a follower, and this ought to work. And that ought to be just about right. There we go. 6 pins. I see some nastiness already. Come on, baby, focus. Let me zoom out to make the focus work a little better. Already, I didn't think that there were... See, I hate guessing. It did not feel like more than a couple of them were threaded, and it looks like every one of those things is threaded. And then on pin 6, it looks like it's walled out there a little bit, and we got a reduced diameter pin stuck in there. But we got it open. Let's go ahead and take a look at some details. All right, got a standard. Standard. That one is not a standard. That's a neat looking thing. I'm going to orient them correctly. Standard. Standard. And it looks like standard. I could have swore that was oh, it does. It has a reduced tip, but just barely. And all 6 are definitely threaded. I don't see any undercutting or milling in there, counter milling. And let's see what we got here. Okay, we have serrated spool, commercial. Commercial serrated spool, another one. 3, I wonder if they're all spools like this. 4. Yep. Number 5, another commercial spool. Oops. And the last one, commercial spool. Serrations on both ends. I'm looking in the Bible of this thing. Let me dump out some springs and I'll show you. These are also all threaded. Come on, baby, focus for me. There we go. All of these are threaded as well in the Bible. See, that's why I hate guessing, guys, because I always guess wrong. 10% chance, and my luck is holding. So while we got this open, let's go ahead and see what the key looks like. is like that black nasty. Okay, there we go. Finally. All right, there's what the bidding looks like. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, there were 6 in there, so it's probably was writing. Yeah, it was writing up there on the tip of that key for pin number 6. But it works. It's a common modification, and it's a really neat way to freak out your buddy. Psychological warfare. So anyway, there you go. White Mobile Locksmithing. Thank you, sir, for the challenge lock. I'll put this thing back together. You didn't ask for it to be returned. So, Lee, I'm going to give it away. And so you guys know what to do. You got 24 hours to leave a comment. Computer will randomly pick someone after that point, and I will post the winner on the You Won page of our website, which is right there. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time. Stay safe. Stay legal.